Hello everyone, in this video we are going to work on our calculation and try to improve it by solving maximum chess puzzles. I don't know you guys know it, but Gukesh is known for his best calculation skills. He's so good at calculation, and that's one of the reasons that he has become the world champion. So if you are great at calculation, that's great, and the best way to improve your calculation is to solve puzzles. So we are going to solve puzzles on Puzzle Rush Survival on Chess.com. Try to solve it with me, or if you don't know, just try to wait and try to let me solve it. So it's going to be fun. So let's begin. Let's try to see how much puzzles can we solve. So let's do it. Okay. So at the start, it's very easy. It's like mate in 1, mate in 2. Or the best way to solve any puzzles here is there is a golden rule, which is check captures threat. Always first look for checks. What are the ways that we can give our opponent checks? If checks are not working, look for captures. Can I capture anything? I can capture the pawn, I can capture this, I can capture this. If captures are also not working, look for threats. Can I pose any threats? Can I push the pawn, attack the bishop, and stuff like that? Okay, so starting puzzles are extremely easy. Just checks, and just check everything. Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate. Okay, and okay, now there are ways. Okay, I can check, but opponent can take. So here there is a mate. Checkmate in 1. So you see the starting puzzles are extremely easy, just capturing everything, giving checks and capturing material and basically normal stuff. Absolutely no brainer. And you see now we have this particular position. Now I want to mate him. I'm having two options. The king can go over here, the king can go over here. So which move is the best? So if I put my king over here, black can push the pawn maybe, but I can go over here. But you see, if I put my king over here, okay, if I go back, the opponent can put the rook over here. It's a check, the opponent can block it. But if I put my king over here, opponent plays this, I can give a check, the opponent goes back. Now I use my rook to give a check because the king is protecting it. The king is forced to move, and now we can simply take the rook, and that's winning. So let me show you. Yeah, that's winning. So now checkmate, check, sacrificing the queen and doing a back rank mate, which is kind of a usual way. Check, and now I can simply, you see, if I take the knight, he is going to take the bishop, and then I can simply take one more piece, and that's why we are winning. It's a mate in 1, and now okay, now this check is working because I can't trade off the queens. I'm losing. So first check, and that's a mate in 2. And okay, this possession just king c4, and the king is kind of blocked, and he's going to lose the rook, and eventually it's a mate. Yeah, the knight moved, and now let's see how can we play. Now bishop g4 is a check that is available. Yeah, and it looks like the only check that is available. Queen c2, but that's not really working up. Maybe queen b5 can be a way to attack both the knights, and that looks kind of fine. Queen b5, yeah. Bishop g4, there is already f3, so it doesn't make sense. Queen b5, how the opponent is going to protect both the knights, I don't really know. So yeah, that's just winning. We are winning a knight, and that's winning. So you see, threats. There was no checks, there were no captures, so the only thing that is left are threats. Once you do it, it becomes a habit, and you're going to do it. So first, looking for checks. Knight b6 check, the opponent can't move. He have to take the knight, and then there is this queen a3, and that's game over. Queen f4, and that's game over. It's a checkmate, so let me do it on the board. Yeah. So bishop goes to d4, and now how to play? I want to play rook d4, but the knight is protecting the bishop. So let me take the knight first. He takes, I take, he take, I take, and I would be a piece up. Takes, and that's winning. Yeah. So now black played the move queen into c6. Okay, if I take the queen, knight takes. I cannot take with the pawn because the pawn is pinned. So takes. I have to move, and I lose the exchange. So first I can take for the knight, and if he takes the bishop, I take the queen. He has to take the queen, and I can simply take the queen back, and that's winning. Okay, so the rook goes to c1, and now just rook b3, a b3, queen b3, and that's a mate. Bishop goes to d6, and now you see now there are no checks available. There is queen f2, but that's not really working. I can see the light squares are weak, so I can play the move queen f3, and that's eventually a mate. Like, I don't really care if the bishop captures the rook because it's eventually a mate. Opponent sacked the queen, but that doesn't matter, it's still a mate. Okay, we have a into b5. I can play knight to f3 check. The king goes to c1, king goes to f1, rook h1, bishop h1, queen g1, and that's game over. Let's do it. Let's do it on the board, yeah. We have bishop goes to d3, and now we have queen h4 check. If the king goes anywhere, queen f2 is game over. Queen h4, g3, knight g3, h3, rook h1, queen h1, and that's game over once again. Okay, so now we have queen d4 capturing the pawn. So, okay, counting the material is kind of even. I can already take, and I would be a simply piece up. So it's no brainer. And now you see, I have already seen knight d7, because if I take the knight, if queen takes the queen, I can take with the knight. That's the whole point. Or else I'm simply a piece up. Now there is rook g5. So now there are many options available in the positions to give white a check. Takes, nothing is happening. Rook h1 makes sense. Rook h1, king f2, and queen f1 is a mate, yeah. Okay, so now we have rook to b6. After rook b6, how to play? Okay, I can capture the pawn, which makes sense. So first, looking for checks. Can I mate the opponent king? I can play knight c3 check. If the king goes back, rook d1 is a mate. Opponent is forced to play king f3 then. After king f3, is there any mate? I can push the pawn. He have to take. I can give a check, and I can capture the rook. And that's actually winning. That's actually winning. We have rook d1 now, attacking the queen. So first, I can simply looking for checks. Queen into rook, king into knight into f2, giving a check and capturing the queen. And I would be a piece up. Not only a piece up, but a rook up. Now we have knight to d3. So once again, checks available. There are, but it's not working. Looking for captures, bishop into rook or bishop into knight. That there are two options. First, looking for capturing a much powerful piece, which is obviously bishop into rook, knight into rook, and then you see I can play bishop e3, and the knight would be simply trapped. If I take the bishop knight, he can take with the rook, and nothing is happening. So we are winning a piece there. That's why. So now we have bishop to e4. Now what many players think here is, okay, let me play queen h3 with the idea of knight g6 checkmate. But bro, after queen h3, you are giving time to your opponent. He can push the pawn, cover the g6 square. You need to do it fast. You need to do it immediately. So knight g6 first check, h g6, and then queen h5, and that's a mate. Let's do it. Because g8 square was already covered by the bishop. So yeah, now we have g into h6, and how to play this? Queen g3 check is the way to play. If knight g6, queen g6 as the f7 pawn is spin, and if the king moves, we can play queen g7, and that's a game over. So we have rook to e8, and after rook e8, how to play? Already starting with check. Okay, first you should start with check, but if you can capture something and give a check, that's even better. Try to look that move first. So knight into f6, if queen f6, e5, sacrificing the pawn and capturing the bishop, that's winning. If it takes with the pawn, then I still believe it's already better for us, because the king is extremely weak, and that's make the maximum amount of sense. Yeah, push and let him capture the bishop. So that's how we are going to play. So now we have f4 now by white, attacking the queen. So looking for check first. So queen d4 check the check. If the queen move, we can capture the bishop. If the rook goes to f2, which is a move, then we have knight g4. We are winning the rook or the exchange. The king is forced to go on h1, and then we have c4 takes, and the bishop have to move. The queen is hanging. So I believe that's winning. Yeah, the question is now, shall I take with the queen or with the pawn? That's a big question to be answered. If I take with the pawn, which looks fine. If I take with the queen b2, and I'll lose the piece once again. So I have to take with the pawn. That's the correct way. Rook goes to d6, and now after rook g6, now how can I give checks to the opponent in the position? I can sacrifice my queen and give a check. The opponent will force to go on h2, and then I can start with bishop to e5 check. If g3, we have rook h1 made because of the bishop, thanks to the bishop. f4, it's the same thing. So yeah, this is winning. Check, bishop e5 check, bishop f4, and eventually rook h1 is checkmate. So now we have bishop to e6. The bishop goes to e6. Now how can we play? I can play queen e8 check. That's a check. The knight is forced to go on f8, rook f8, king h7, rook h8, and that looks like a mate. Let's do it. Yeah, that's a mate. We have rook to d1 now. After rook d1, starting with some checks ideas, with bishop h3 check, the king is forced to go on g1. Now bishop f2, king f2, queen f e3, and that looks mate. That looks mate because I even thought queen g3, but the opponent can take with the pawn and nothing is happening. So first giving a check, bishop f2, king f2, queen e3 is a checkmate. Okay, once again we have queen b6. So can I give checks to the opponent? I cannot give any checks. So any captures, I can take the pawn. But definitely the opponent can capture the pawn back and nothing is happening. Okay, now looking for threats. Are there any threats available? I see the bishop is kind of hanging if I move the knight. Can I play knight c4 in the position attacking the queen and the bishop? If the queen move, I can capture the bishop because it's a double attack and that's winning. Okay, the main question only here is, shall I take with the bishop, with the queen or the knight? Because if I take with the queen, he can take the knight. If I take with the knight, he's having rook d8, pinning up the stuff. But then I'm having knight b7, though it's not working. So let's leave it. So knight takes the bishop, the rook goes to d8. The question is how to play. Can I play bishop f4 defending it? And that sort of makes sense. Let's do it. That looks like the right continuation. Exactly. So we have queen c6 now. After queen c6, okay, let's try to think of a way to win the game. So always first starting with checks. Rook h7 check, king h7, queen h4 check. The king goes to g7, queen h6 check, king g8, and then we have rook h1, threatening checkmate. The opponent can't stop it, I see. Maybe knight f6 can be an approach, but still queen h8 is the checkmate. I don't see the opponent to defend it. Any way for the opponent to defend it. Now queen h6 check, and now rook h1. Knight f4 check, I can take it, and nothing is happening. That's winning. Queen f3, okay, queen f3, king f3, and that's winning, yeah. Okay, the king goes to f1. And now how can we play? I want to make, okay, starting with some checks. Check, the opponent goes here, and I don't see a way to win. So can I play something which makes sense? Can I push the pawn? You see, now there are many options available in the position because I want to make the queen, but I can't because the opponent will take it. I can give a check, the opponent can go to e2. And then it's a question to think. I don't see a way, like I don't see a clear path in the position. I can try to push the pawn. That looks sort of a move, like push, the knight goes, push, the knight goes. I think push looks like the way. And now push, the takes, and now I can push. And that looks winning. Yeah, I can at least make one queen and that looks winning, yeah. So we have rook e4 now, rook into e4. And now, anyway, for us to mate our opponent, I can push the pawn and give a check. That's a check. The opponent have to go on h4. And then, yeah, then how can I continue? Okay, if I push the pawn, the opponent will take with the rook, and that's winning for him. So it's first of all, it's not working. I can play king h3 with the idea of g4, and that looks a mate. The opponent is forced to play rook e3 then. I can take the pawn. Yeah, I can take the pawn then. Or I can actually play the move king to f3, attacking the rook. The rook will take the pawn, I can push g4, the king is forced to go on h4, and rook h6 is a checkmate. So you see, king h3 is not good because of rook e3, but king f3 is winning because of g4, rook h6. So that's winning, yeah. The opponent have to sack the rook, and basically that's winning. Okay, now we have a check. So now first of all, we can simply block it, takes, and the opponent will try to go over here, and we just need to make a square now. Okay, let's try to think. I put my queen on g6, force a queen trade. The opponent goes here, I go here, he goes here, he goes here. It takes. We have this position. The opponent is forced to go over here, and then we can push, and that looks winning. Yeah. So you see, it's all about pure calculation. It's all about pure calculation. You need to think. So we have rook e1, and after rook e1, what is the idea of the opponent? First of all, he cannot take. He cannot take. That's winning for us. The question is, how can we continue to win the game? Are there any checks available in the position? There are checks available in the position. Why queen is 3 check? Sacrificing the queen, giving a check. Maybe then the king goes somewhere, and I don't see much happening, and that looks winning for white. Another thing that I see that can be might winning is maybe knight to f4. Maybe knight f4. If the opponent moves the queen, we will capture the rook. The opponent is forced to capture the rook. We take the queen with the knight. He takes the queen with the rook. We take the rook, giving a check with the knight. Takes, and that's winning, yeah. Takes, giving a check, and rook takes the rook. We are exchange up with a completely winning position. Bishop goes to c8, attacking the rook. So first looking for checks available in the position. There is rook into 9, f into e5. And okay, there is also queen f4 check, but I'm just discarding it because of bishop d7, and I don't see a clear path. So there is rook e5, f e5, maybe knight e5 with the idea of queen h5, but that looks a bit too slow to me, personally. So if I need to go for some fast approach in the position, maybe knight e5. Maybe knight e5 can be an option. So you see, once again, there are options available in the position, which we need to think how can we continue the game. Knight e5, bishop takes on f5. We can play queen to h5 check. The bishop goes to g6, takes. Yeah, that's one option. Okay, let's see. Knight takes, bishop takes f5, queen takes. The queen king goes to e7. That's the check. The king goes to over here. And then what? I'm having knight f5 check for sure. The king goes to c6. And okay, it's still not sure how to continue the position. You see now the position is getting a bit tricky, not easy to play. I need to work hard to find the correct way to play. Okay, rook in. Okay, if I start with rook into takes, and I want to play knight e5, but I feel with the queen h5 it looks fine. It looks fine. I think I can go for that. That makes some sort of a sense. Shall I? It was the bad way. I think maybe knight into knight was the best. Okay, never mind. We have rook e1, and now looking for checks. Checks not available. I can look for captures, but I don't think captures are also working. So just rook over here. Bishop goes back. Okay, if I take it, there is this check, which is annoying. Which is definitely annoying. And I can move the king. He can take this. And that looks losing for me for some reason. Okay, I can. Okay, if I just take, he can give a check and he can take the rook, which looks winning for us. Which look losing for us. I can play king g7. And just take over here. That looks winning, yeah. Okay, the rook goes to f7. And looking for checks. Queen g8 check. Yeah, queen g8 check is a move. Queen g8 check is a move. Definitely a move. Rook f8, we can take it. Bishop f8, we have rook e1. So what is the difference between queen h8 check and queen g8? What is the main difference? Maybe after queen g8 check, there are some queen g6 checks available, which was a wrong idea. But why? But why was it a wrong idea? I don't know. King c6, we have king c6. So now, first I can take it. The opponent can push the pawn. And then, I can just take this pawn. He makes the queen, we give it check and takes, and that's winning. Check, takes, and that's winning. Okay. Pawn push, I can play the move rook over here. That is one move. One way to play. But not the you see, not the way obvious way to play. I'm trying to think king g6, rook g8 check, king h7, the rook goes somewhere. Opponent can actually push the pawn, and that's losing for us. Okay, let's see how can we play. Rook g2, there is no mate. That's the main issue. There is no mate. Okay, there is actually a mate. Rook g2, the rook move. We take rook king h5, rook h3, king g4, rook h4 is a checkmate. Yeah, we actually saw the mate. Okay, and now just rook over here. That looks winning. Yeah, that is winning. Okay, so we have bishop into pawn over here, and now I can push the pawn. That is another way to play. Or maybe even knight d4 makes sense. Knight d4 attacking the queen. The queen move. We can take the pawn maybe. Okay, not sure though. Maybe 100%. Though we can play the move. Possession is seriously interesting. Bishop f5. Queen goes over here. Maybe bishop goes over here, and then it looks like the queen is trapped. Looks like. Okay, the queen goes over here. We have knight c2. Oh, come on, this should be working. This should be working. Bishop f5. Yeah, this is winning. Yeah. So we have queen d3 now. After queen d3, first looking for checks. Checks not available. Captures. Captures. I can take capture, but that does not look that much of a calculation. I think bishop f5 somehow makes sense. Bishop f5 maybe. h6, the knight goes back. I can even play g5, the bishop goes back, but not sure. Not sure 100%. I think I can take it. But rook b1. And is there e5? Is e5 a move available in the position? Need to think. Like e5, bishop e5, I'm having f6. He can take the pawn with the pawn. That's an idea. The position is interesting for sure, but it's the thing is how to continue the possession. Like I can take the pawn. You see now, like there would be such positions where there is no such obvious move there is no such obvious answer. You need to think, you need to work hard, and you need to eventually find the move. Queen d3. After queen e3, I'm having bishop f5, queen b2, e5, c5, c5 he can take, that's not working. Queen b2, rook b1, queen a2, queen a8, rook b7, and I don't think that's also working as well. Bishop f5, the queen goes back. Maybe now I can take on e5. I can take on b2 with the idea of checking over here, which makes sense somehow. In like that's the last resort. But he can even push the pawn. Takes, and I can take the pawn. That's not good for white. e5, he can take with the pawn. And okay, h6, the bishop goes back, and nothing is happening. Actually, I'm thinking, what's the difference between if I push now and play bishop f5, or I directly play bishop f5? What is the big difference? What is the big of a difference? Knight goes to f3, bishop goes to f5, the queen goes somewhere. The queen goes to b3 actually. So I have to take it now, or else there is queen b3 available for him. Yeah. Can I play e5? He takes, and I can take with the bishop. Takes. The knight goes to f3. And the position is complicated once again. Definitely it's not an easy choice. Like if queen b2, rook b1, and the queen is actually trapped. So that's not working. For sure. Bishop f5 is what I'm thinking. But queen b3. And after queen b3, it's hard to find the way. Like queen b3, cb3. And yeah. Now this move. Or can I play f6? I'm having f6, the knight goes back, e5, takes, the bishop goes back, I can push, I can win a piece. That looks winning. Yeah, that is winning. Okay, so we have queen b1 now. Maybe trying to trade off the queen, that makes some sense. Yeah, I can play bishop over here, giving a check and capture capture here. Yeah, that looks winning. So yeah, we simply won a free rook. So yeah, so we have king d1. I can start with a knight e3 check. The king goes to c1. If I take over here, the opponent can take with the queen, and that's not winning. Maybe bishop c5 with the idea of taking over here, and that looks winning. Yeah, that was simply a forced checkmate in one. Okay, king c2, trying to run away. Yeah, maybe possible. I can start with a check and capture the queen. I can start with a check and take over here. And that looks winning. The difference here is I can give a check first and then take over here. The opponent takes over here and check. And okay, I basically win a piece. I win a free piece then. Yeah. That was the correct way. Yeah, so we have around rook e1. 52 puzzles have been solved. Rook e1. And I don't know, but I'm having a feeling this is winning. I can simply capture a piece. If I take with the knight, he can take, and he can take. So I should take with the queen first, trade off the queens, and capture the queen, and I'm peace out. And now we have queen f4, looking for checks. I can give a check. The king can go over here on c2, and then any good way to continue. I want to play bishop g5, but that's not working for sure. G5, bishop g. Okay, g5. There is bishop f5 for him. So that's not obvious. G5. He can take. Okay. Okay, I can start with queen e1. King goes to c2. The question is, then what? After king c2, what? King c2, I'm having knight b4. Takes. Rook c8. King goes to b3. Is there any mate? I can give a check for sure. I can give a check. The king goes over here. I can take it. He can push the pawn. I can give a check. The king can go back. I don't know. It just feels it should be winning. Yeah, this was just a feeling, and it was actually the correct feeling. Now we have rook f2. Now there are ways. Either I can allow him to just allow this, or I can just march forward. Marching forward just makes a total sense. Now the question is king g4 or king over here. King g4, he can give a check and he can take. So king h4, that's the only move. And now rook f3, I can push the pawn maybe? I can start with the check. Or even check like this works. And push. Yeah. It looks winning. It does look winning. Yeah, it was winning. Okay. So we have g5 now. Pushing the pawn and how to play. Now let's think. Starting with some checks. Knight check, takes, not working. G5 looks good. He can take this, I can take this. But I lose the 9. So that's not working as well. Okay, so maybe I can play knight d5, cd5, bishop takes the rook takes the bishop. And then yeah, not sure. Maybe knight b5 check. No knight b5 checks. Checks. I don't think checks are working here. I want to play knight d5. I definitely want to play knight d5, cd5. Bishop takes the rook. The rook takes the bishop. And the question is how to play. The question is how to play. Knight d5, cd5, bishop e8, rook e8, b5, knight c5, dc5. Okay, let me show you on the board. Bishop e8, rook e8, b5, knight c5, dc5. The thing is, we have to evaluate this position. Is this winning for us? I don't see this winning for us. If I push the pawn to b5, he takes. He takes, and that looks winning. Okay, that was not the way. Okay, let's try to see where did we went wrong, and let's try to assess how can we improve further. Opponent played bishop c8. I wanted to play knight into knight. Queen check. Knight takes the bishop. Queen takes the rook, and that was actually the best way. Okay, discussing the second position that we went wrong. Okay, rook f7. Okay, queen h8 was the right way, and now bishop g5. And now what? What, the queen goes back or something? Oh wow, there is queen h3 check available. Wow, that's why queen h8 is much better than queen g8. Yeah, it's a very deep logic, and that's definitely, this deserves a great thinking. So now we have push. Push was the bad move. Knight into pawn is bad. Bishop into pawn is the right way, and check and we take. This is the right way, yeah. There were three candidates move in my mind: b5, knight into pawn, bishop into pawn. But you see, the brain is already exhausted too much. So yeah, 55 for today. So I hope that you guys have also solved these puzzles with me. If you did, then you guys can please tell me know in the comments that were you able to solve the three puzzles that I went wrong. Yeah, please let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, if this video helped you improve your calculation, make sure to like it, share it, and subscribe it if you are new to our channel. I'm going to come up with these more exciting videos like this. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching One Shot Chess. Bye bye.